Hi, Gary here. You know, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, a 1,000-mile journey begins with a single step. You know, we kind of all know that. We went through, 15, 20 years of school. You know, the master's degree is now the new bachelor's degree. And so we realize it takes a long time for good things to happen, for results to take place. And that's kind of the subject today, is about capitalism and the markets, the risk markets out there, stocks and bonds and so forth. You know, there's a Harvard University study done very recently that said over 50%, it's actually 51%, of 18 to 29-year-olds don't believe in capitalism. Now, they weren't quite clear the definition of capitalism in their minds, but, you know, when you look at what's happened in 2000, the dot-com crash, and in 2008, the Great Recession, there's not a lot of hope with what has happened with the markets and capitalism for those who've experienced that at a very young age. So it's understandable. However, we do know a couple of things about people building wealth. The first is, basic habit is they save first and spend second. A lot of millennials do that really well. The second part is then investing that in things that will grow over time faster than inflation. That tends to be in real estate, in the stock market, long-term bonds and the like, small businesses and so forth. And the problem being is another survey done last year, it's been quoted over and over again by Bankrate.com, basically said that only 26% of those under the age of 30 actually invest in stocks. And so here we've got this great generation here. It's moving along. They're 20 to 35 years old, and they're not going to have strong Social Security, higher Medicare costs, and so forth. So they have to build a lot of wealth. But right now, statistically, as a generation, they're very adverse to that. So capitalism and wealth building by the stock markets gets a bad rap. And I find that very curious because the actual instruments that we all use today in many different ways, you know, Facebook and Google and Apple and Amazon. I mean, there's just to name four of them. We're all started by 20-somethings, and all four of those we use a lot in our daily lives, and they're all digital media, and they all have publicly traded stock that you can invest in, obviously along with everything else. So I believe it's just an understanding of these markets and what happens over time, and the experience of the last couple of decades has been very poor. And it just makes most of us who that's all we've ever seen to just not want to invest in it. You know, what I have found in this business after many years is people in their 50s tend to really start to grow their wealth very rapidly, double, sometimes triple from the time they're 50 to 60 or so. And that happens from a place where they've built up some basic amount of assets that they can move from. So it's really important to make sure you utilize the strength of compounding interest. And that doesn't work any better than what happens in America relative to the growth that takes place from the companies out there that we all believe in. And those companies provide that rate of return in the 6, 7, 8, 9% range that then will double our money in decent periods of time. You can go back to another post I had on the Rule 72, meaning you divide a number of years or an interest rate into 72 and get the resultants. For instance, 8% rate will double your money in 9 years. And so this compounding effect can make a huge difference versus having, as the Bankrate survey says, the majority of people under 30 investing in cash, which is a 0% rate of return. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes over the next 5 or 10 years. But I think capitalism and the stock markets kind of get a bad rap for a lot of very good reasons, but not necessarily going to be good for the long term. So until next time, enjoy.